SAG is on strike for another third strike on itself against video gamers. Unfortunately, Disney does a massive reshuffle to the Marvel TV shows and a bidding war for a brand new movie with Chris Hemsworth and Pedro Pascal, which Netflix and Amazon are both hunting down. That's what we've got in store for and our latest review for Ahsoka. Before we get fully into it, you know what comes up next.
Welcome to the Light, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode. Thank you very much for tuning in every single week. And for anyone brand new, as always, pull up a seat and welcome. So one thing I have to get out of the way, first thing, is a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. For the YouTube, we've hit 700 subscribers, which is fantastic. Thank you, every single person. And on the podcast, we have crossed the 6,000 total plays mark, which I'm just boggled by. I'm just like, holy shit, and I appreciate every single one of you. I know there's 1,000 other channels, there's 1,000 other podcasts that you could be listening to, but the fact that you listen to this one warms my heart, and a big thank you to every single last one of you. And I'm talking straight and listening to straight to you, the listener or the watcher, either way. But thank you. It's all about all about trying to hit that 1K mark at the end of this year, and then just continuing to grow and bring you guys grade A content every single week. Now, enough of the old thank yous and everything. Let's dive into this episode, which, again, I feel bad because it's another week in which I have to say RIP. I have to say something sad. In the past week, Arlene Soken has passed away. She was the original voice and the inspiration for Harley Quinn. Now, Harley Quinn was an original character in the massive Batman mythos. She was created for the Batman TV show. Originally, she was only Joker's henchwoman 1. She didn't even have a name, but Paul, I'm pretty sure that's his last name. And then boom, had the inspiration for it. She got her in. She is right now. And then from that particular all the way, she's become an iconic character. And when you talk to people, everyone goes off. She's been in the Batman mythos the whole time since day one, and so iconic. So unfortunately, she has passed away from 1955 to 2023. So all of our condolences go to her family, her friends, her pets, all together. We're so sorry to hear the loss. So now it's Kevin Conroy, and now it's Harlene Soken. Unfortunately, Mike Hamill seems to be the one who's staying the longest all the way through it. So God bless him and to good health. But it does suck to hear these news, and it's sad because it's that's 2 episodes back to back where I have to stop and say RIP and sorry for a loss. But it's her character was part of my childhood. Batman. I grew up on Batman the Animated Universe, Batman Animated TV show, and when I see her character, when I read comics, same thing with Kevin Conroy. Her voice is what I hear every time. So it's very sad, and I was very shocked to read the news. Actually, I saw the article. It was on something, and I saw it, and I thought it was a joke because I was like, "Oh, I haven't seen a whole lot about this." Next thing I saw, I was like, "Bam!" All flooded my social media. I was like, "Oh, that's a bit shit." But look, let's get into some more happier news, which depends who you talk to about this. But SAG. So SAG, writers on strike, actors on strike, and now actors. The SAG has filed to go and also strike against the video game industry as well on their treatment of actors and performers. So yes, as I'm recording this, it's only nearly been 2 months now. Actually, I think it's even been longer now. Even longer, probably going up 3 months that these actors and writers have been on strike, and now they're adding on top of that going against the video game industry. I'm like, who's next? Who's next that they're going to attack? Well, not saying they're attack. That sounds bad. But who's next in line to get a strike? Now, as I've said every single week, they deserve what they get. They should be paid for what they do and treated what they do. But the fact now it's going to be a third strike is just insane to think about. Now, obviously, creating a video game is very different in production. Is very different to a movie and how it's presented. A video game can be in production for up to 9 to 8 years, and so some people who record those lines could have been months ago and ages ago, all the mocap and everything. So what does that mean if they go on strike? What does that mean for the video game industry? Is that also going to push delays on video game releases? I don't think it will, but if it does, that's really shit. That's movies, that's video games, delay until something happens. Obviously, it has to come to a point where people need to come to the table. But now this potentially can affect the video game community as well. So it's over the next few weeks, we're going to see what that kind of impact is going to have. Which, look, I just want everyone to come to the table, which is something later on I'm going to talk about in this episode, but I just want everyone to come to the table so the fact we can get moving forward to making great TV shows, everyone gets treated right, great video games, and we get to move on. However, now that we're also hitting the nearly 3 month mark, something's going to happen. Also, bills must be piling up. So there has to be something that's going to have to give, but I just can't believe there's another strike. But as soon as I opened my Instagram and saw this, I was like, oh my God. Far out. Like just piling on top of each other. That's the hard thing. Oh, but look, I'll keep you guys up to date, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Also not looking good. Wow, this is kind of like a sad, depressing, and bad news. Lights, camera, rant. Unfortunately, for anyone who's also looking forward to the RoboCop Rogue City game that was meant to come out this month, unfortunately, that has been delayed until November the 2nd, still this year. Now, for anyone who doesn't know about the game, it's a brand new first-person shooter set in the RoboCop universe, which surprisingly took a lot of people by storm because it looks very clean, very neat, and very pretty. And when I saw the first trailer for it, I thought, this looks like I'm not a huge RoboCop fan, but I would very up to take part in this game and pick it up. Which for anyone who's also Starfield's dropped, please let me know what you think of Starfield. I've seen all these videos piling in. The favorite videos I've seen is people making chips from famous franchises. I've seen Millennium Falcon. I've seen the Crest from The Mandalorian. I've seen so many come up, and I'm loving that part. But anyway, back to the video game. Yes, so definitely this is gritty. It's rated MA. It's brutal. So definitely go check this out. But it has been delayed for any RoboCop fans, which I'm really sorry for. Now this is also this is good, but also sad depending on which region you're in. The PlayStation Portal has been announced that it will be dropping on November the 15th in selected areas. For selected countries. So obviously America, Japan, the UK, I think they're all fine, Canada. But for people like us in Australia, well, we got to twirl our thumbs a little bit longer because we got no release date. Feels just like the Steam Deck. Still waiting. Don't know when that's going to happen. Sorry, I mean, that was nearly a year when that came out compared to the worldwide release. So, yes, PlayStation Portal is indeed coming this year. However, for any Australian fans on selected countries, unfortunately, it won't be coming. It's not a worldwide release. I would highly recommend checking out those countries to determine where you are listening to or watching this podcast. However, British or America, Canada, UK, and Japan, you are fine. You will be getting that release date in a heartbeat. Now, this is very interesting. Now, movie is an upcoming action movie, both with Chris Hemsworth, Pedro Pascal, in a movie called Crime 101. Now, the most interesting thing about this movie is the fact that currently there is a bidding war for the distribution rights for the movie. So currently now Netflix is versing Amazon to get the rights for this movie to distribute. Now, look, unfortunately, the money is going to be in Amazon, but it depends on how Netflix does all. But when I saw the bidding, I was like, oh, cool. But at the same time, I was like, there's going to be a movie with Chris Hemsworth and Pedro Pascal? Yes, I'm in. Take my freaking money. I didn't even know this was in the works, but it is. But depending if they're getting the bidding war between the strikes, I'd say you're looking at this movie until 2025. Now, also speaking about Pedro Pascal, is the fact that apparently the directors and the writers of the HBO Max hit TV show have said that season 2 is ready to go into full production as soon as the strike ends, which will, again, that will be 2025 as well. So 2025 could now be another big year for Pedro Pascal. Compared to obviously the beginning of this year. So Last of Us fans, we're going to hold out a little bit longer. But for this movie, massive bidding war, who's going to go up against who? That's the biggest question. My money is on Amazon. Now, this was a really bit sad. Now, we know that Disney is doing budget cuts. Now, we heard infamous Bob Iger's interview saying all the stuff, saying all the things like cutting cuts, too much content, blah, 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 or he doesn't respect actors and directors, which we already know about the SAG Awards, the striking. So this is called Neutralis. I am probably butchered that terribly. This was an upcoming Disney Plus TV show, 10 episodes, that has finished filming. That's about the infamous Jules Verne stories that went into production. It's done. It's finished filming, and Disney Plus has just gone, nah. They've cancelled it, or they're not distributing it at all. So currently, right now, they're trying to find a new home for this show quickly, amongst all these striking, but that's like I don't. It obviously must be a Batgirl situation. Just write off, cancel it, make it back. It's not worth shooting. Now for me, it's just like why film? Well, if it's finished filming, I think Batgirl might have not finished filming, depending. But the show's finished filming. You just had to do some editing and then pump it out. But yeah, for anyone who's looking for this show, unfortunately, right now it is in complete limbo for it. So it's either going to be canned, just like Batgirl, or find a new home. Which even then, when it does find a new home, depending on who it is, you might only just get this season, and that's it. But it's all finished, ready to go. Apparently, just some 20 weeks since done. And for any Doctor Strange, now this is you have to take this in speculation. I can't stress this enough, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I see these, I'm like, cool, but everything is in too much limbo right now with what's going on. That's the hard thing. So apparently the rumor is Doctor Strange 3 is coming in May of 2025. Now, with all the delays, which I'm about to get into, that I'd say 2026. Unfortunately, with the gap right now, the gap between Avengers films will be the longest we've ever experienced between Avengers Endgame and the Kang Dynasty. Obviously, when Kang Dynasty is Civil Wars, that will be a much of closing gap, but it's gonna be pushed out. There has to be, until these striking has finished, everything is in limbo. Everything's going to be pushed back. There is no guarantee on any film release right now. So yes, Doctor Strange 3 is rumored for that release date, which, speaking of release dates, Disney Plus has shuffled the release dates for all the upcoming Marvel TV shows. Now, we do know that Daredevil's on pause. Currently, the Ironheart TV show is on pause with no release date. Echo has been pushed back from December to January. And What If Season 2 has been brought up for December this year, which I'm hoping that means that if Echo has been pushed back, we will get a normal release of weekly basis instead of the rumored 1 day drop like Netflix that was rumored. So What If fans, that's coming out this year, but Echoes on that, Ironheart, and another one which is really interesting is Agatha. So Agatha, which was the Coven of Chaos, and House of Harkness, and now called the Darkhold Diaries. It's had 3 name changes, which is ridiculous. 3 name changes, and that's coming in fall of 2024. So next year, we are looking at Echo, maybe Ironheart, and Agatha. Those are the only 2 shows that are confirmed right now. And it was also meant to get in January as well, is the brand new X-Men TV show. So it'll be Echo first, then the X-Men 97 sequel TV show animated. That's meant to be coming as well. Now, there is no confirmed for season 3 of What If. Obviously, a lot of people weren't particularly like What If, but we don't know. That hasn't been confirmed. So it's Comic-Con or the Disney 23 that's going to happen later this year. I don't know what they're going to announce or what's going to happen. Like, I just feel sorry for them because they've got so much in the pipeline, yet they're just like, can't do anything. Everything's just, the whole wheels are stopped. My most gutted is Daredevil. Daredevil, I had pause because like was going to be a long TV show. It was going to be so much on the table. I'm like, depending on how that's going to be 2025. And oh my god, my shoulder. I played tennis yesterday. Oh, could feel that. But yeah, that's all been reshuffled. Apparently, the latest rumor I've seen is the She-Hulk is rumored to get a season 2. She is also meant to make a cameo in Daredevil, but just all these things, just piling up of just being push. And on top of that, which is really weird, the Marvels. So the Marvels apparently only has a runtime of 112 minutes, which basically means the fact that, 1 hour and 12 minutes, which means the actual film is only 90 minutes long. Then you add the credits, making it the shortest Marvel movie ever. Out of all the films we've had, all of them, is going to be the shortest. Really concerning. So we had this debate last year where we're saying the movies weren't long enough. It was too cramped for just 2 hours. But just 97 minutes for film, like that seems a lot to, have this team come together, they figure out the powers, the bad guy, what's going on. That seems so crammed. Like I was expecting this to get that 2-hour mark. How that's going to work? Like, don't get me wrong, there are great movies with only a short amount of runtime. But as soon as I read that, it made me think of Venom. Venom had a very short runtime of about, I think it was only about 70 or 80 minutes. And look at the car crash and carnage that was. And I'm just like, shit, like, is that going to happen to this as well? Are we going to end 2024 with a Marvel dud? That's what I'm worried about. Don't get me, because we got not even dud, but Ant-Man 3 wasn't well received. It had its high points. It is not the worst Marvel movie, but it wasn't a high point. But then we got Guardians of the Galaxy, boom, sky, punch the roof, bloody outstanding. But this is getting, and they dropped a trailer. It doesn't look too bad. I'm really concerned about this going into this movie. CGI looks fine, so nothing to worry about that. But still, I do tell me, are you concerned about that runtime, or I'm just panicking for no reason? Is it, yeah, not that bad? Like, just shut me down. It's not that. Just relax. You tell me. Marvel's only 97 minutes. Not looking good. Now, that is the biggest news that's happened the past week. Probably the last thing for any wrestling fans. CM Punk has been terminated from his contract from AEW due to a fight he had at the All In at London, which we knew that was all in the cards. That was going to happen. It was, yeah, they knew that was going to happen. So CM Punk is gone from AEW. Will that mean that he will return to WWE and have his big comeback, or is he just in his entire career is just too murky and like, nah, don't touch it at all? So let's get on to Ahsoka. So I have to tell you this, Ahsoka, even 3 episodes in, I am so more engaged, so more interested than compared to Andor. Don't get me wrong, Andor has a particular place, but like I feel like Andor didn't kick off until like episode 4 or 5, from what memory serves. Now, the statistically speaking, the debut episodes of Ahsoka hit 1.2 million homes. Now that's the same debut as Andor, and currently right now it goes Obi-Wan with 2.2 million viewers on its debut episodes, and then it goes down to The Mandalorian, then it goes to Andor and Ahsoka. That's currently where they're sitting. Now, I do understand why that is indeed the case, because if you talk to the casual Star Wars fan, depending on the age, they're not going to know who Ahsoka is at all. They're like, oh, I've heard that name, but that's about because of the show, but that's about it. Nothing else. So that's a big thing, and obviously everyone knows, regardless of your age, you know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. And so this episode picks off exactly from the previous 2 episodes. I watched it, and I don't know, in my head I was like, okay, now another one. I'm like, oh, that's right, it's only 2 at debut. That was it. Now, as this episode, I have to say, CGI is crisp, the action is great, and I am so fully sicked in this week. So if you haven't, I did review the first 2 episodes with my buddy Andy from the Galactic Core podcast. Please go check out that episode. He is a wealth of knowledge, that man, and I completely shocked him when I told him I haven't seen Rebels or Clone Wars. Yes, get your pitchforks. It's on the list, so don't you worry. I will be watching that. Now, so Ahsoka this episode starts off where you're seeing Ahsoka training Sabine and the old, well, she's obviously using Hugh Young using more of an upgrade. He does it, but then she goes old school, gets the helmet and the blindfold, which was very reminiscent of Luke. I felt it. I was looking at it going, oh, this just makes me think of this all the time. Going back to Luke, and you're watching it and you're seeing it. Wow, that takes you back to when you first started looking, like, feel the force as a movie. So they do this whole montage, or not montage, but would you call it a montage? I guess it was a little bit trippy how she was moving at one point. So I guess, yeah, you could call it a montage. And you're seeing it like that. And you see Sabine, she is struggling a little bit because she's not in tune with the force, but she's trying. You can really see her commitment to the fact that she wants to try with her. And you see Ahsoka is trying as well to try and build that relationship, and which is a good scene. And then they also have a good chat about how the force works, how it's in every living person, and how it all works with everybody. And then we get the nice little scene of trying to get the cup to move with the force. Now, the interesting thing is that you did see when she was trying to move the cup, when she left the spaceship to go out the front, the camera zoomed in on the mug. It didn't move, but she's going to be back to try and do that. series where she could be able to grab it straight away and off into adventure. I think way too much on this, but that's why I do believe it will happen. Now, this is not a gripe. I don't think a gripe. It's still good. I love it. So this episode, fortunately, all the episodes start with down in time frame. This episode only goes about 36 minutes, 37 minutes, if that. And half of it is to do just with a dogfight in space, which looks great. Loved it. Good on. There's nothing wrong. Spaceship, special crap. That never, and it has an intense scene where they pass the, I'm gonna butcher this, the Purgles, the space whales. You do get to see where they're going. They're going up because they're getting chased by Shin and Mordok and Mordok, which there's so much speculation of that character is, and it's like I'm going to wait until the review. For me, it's probably Jason Todd. If anyone does get that reference, you know who I'm talking about. You know what game I'm talking about. Which we get to see these space whales again. Now, for everyone who doesn't know, I haven't seen Rebels, but I did watch the last scene in which you get to see a recap on YouTube, and you see the last scene with Thorne. Now, obviously, the space whales took them to another universe. And now, one of the big theories I did say that was very interesting is that maybe, because we do see a clip of Thorne, is that wherever they take him, wormhole possibility, that maybe the fact that when we do find Thorne and Ezra, if he's alive, is the fact that they haven't aged because of the wormhole time deficient that they go through, that maybe time hasn't moved a lot. So when they do find them, it's only been a day or two for them between them when they've been gone. So that when we do see them, we're all like, well, I aged a lot. So that is a possible theory that I did like. Now, you get this great starship fight when they're going up and around, which is, it looks so good. It's giant space whales. I'm like, looks a whole lot better than She-Hulk. Which I can tell you that. Now we do get that. Now as they start landing on this planet, which Morgan is currently orbiting with her giant Stargate, but here's the thing. Probably another little gripe about the episode is there's a lot of action in this episode. There's a lot of talking, a lot of training, but obviously for me, I guess I feel like we didn't get a whole lot more about giant Stargate because Hugh Young he scanned the entire thing. Ship got hit, so he went out for minutes of the, and as the episode ends, we see the fact that they will be hunted down in the forest, and they'll go and they need to get ready and find out more about this. So this week's episode, obviously when this drops, for next week, surely we're going to see what's going to be happening and how this is all going to like my friend is like, I keep thinking about that scene in the trailer where you see Ahsoka about to fight Ray Stevens' character, who for some reason I can't remember his name, and I was just talking to him maybe about yesterday. How that's going to lead, because isn't that scene? So she might be off fighting Shin. But overall, this episode again expands the Star Wars mythos even further, because I know there's so much talk about these whales because of what they do. For anyone who doesn't know what they do, they basically can hyper jump at will. They go through space without a hyper engine or anything. They can just go instantly. So obviously there's so much like what could happen on that. But overall, this episode, if you're looking for the action, overall it was good. We get some great moments between Sabine and Ahsoka. Morgan was briefly in this. This was more Shin compared to it. But it's so engaged. I loved it, and it's got me looking up space whales and what the frick do they do? Why are they so important? But for anyone who listening to this and hasn't jumped on this, you need to. I can't stress that enough. You need to jump on this. Even if you're just the smallest Star Wars fan, you need to go check this out. It is about to blow up the Star Wars universe in a whole different level, and it already has started. Now, before you ask, Hayden Christensen hasn't appeared yet. I'm predicting that's going to be episode 5 or 6. Same with Thrawn, depending. Thrawn might be a little bit earlier, but 5 or 6, that is when we're going to see Hayden Christensen. I think Ahsoka is going to get battered or beaten really badly because she has this ability, which we have seen her use in episode 2, where she can see Force Echo Sense. Now, the only other time we've seen that is in the Star Wars Jedi games with Cal Kestis, him using that. So it's interesting that she has that ability, but will she use that ability and have, like, let's say a midlife Jedi crisis? Actually, yeah, a midlife Jedi crisis. Will she have one with to do with Anakin and have that flashback? But Star Wars Rebels fans, you're like, this is just such a treat. And for the casual Star Wars fan, this is awesome. And I know I'm so excited where this is going to lead into the giant movie. But strong episode leading into it. We've hit the we got 3 episodes down. We're like 4 more to go. You guys tell me, are you enjoying it so far? Are you watching it? What do you think is going to happen next? And how do you think, like, is this, like, as any from Galactic Core podcast, is this not actually going to have a full satisfying final? Will this actually just lead on to the giant movie? You tell me where that's all going to go. And look, guys, I know this. Look, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode. Thank you very much for listening, tuning in at every single week. And as always, until next time, happy ranting.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.